All right. Kamusta, Attorney Tanyada? Vince, how are you, Vince?
Hi, Richard. Thank you. Thank you for guesting me. I mean, I've been wanting to follow up our
I know,
interview
I
kasi
know.
the last time was Katips and it was when last year August. So thank you for having me.
My pleasure as always. Of course, we always try to catch up because of our, shared artistic and in a certain sense, even ideological, no, predilections and hopes for the country and all. But obviously, in context ng ating conversation today, ating talakayan today is your new movie, no, which I can see very prominently projected on your T-shirt with the Ninoy style shades. So, Vince, tell me about this. Was this something you were working on? I mean, is this something that you did before pa tapos nilabas mo ngayon? Like, what's going on there? Because alam ko the last time that we talked, no, not long ago, no, half a year ago, marami ka ng project na ginagawa. Medyo ADHD ka rin yata like us, di ba? Like, you need to do, you have your fingers deep in many cookie jars, no? Like, what's going on? Can you tell us a little bit about the background of your new movie before we talk about
No, this Ako si Ninoy is actually a stage musical which I did
Right,
back in 2009. So
right,
it was the Benigno Aquino Foundation. During that time, PCCA President Cory was still alive.
right.
But she was already diagnosed with cancer. So I was able to talk to her like 3 times, and she was
2007,
actually my
8, 9, mga ganon. 2006, 7, 8, mga ganon. Or earlier.
2008, no? Because we
2008, yeah,
staged this
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
2009.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I was able to talk to her. She was our main resource person, and this was actually diagnosed. Sorry, diagnosed. This was actually commissioned for the
Right,
I Am Ninoy campaign back then, because
right,
there was a
right,
campaign
right,
that everybody can be like Ninoy, and during that time we invented that hashtag. There's a hero in all of us. So
right,
it was
right.
back in 2009 when we did that, and I was able to stage this in August, just uh,
Mhm.
right after PCCA died. So
Right, right.
around August 1, when the demise of PCCA was August 1, we launched this August 3 in Ayala Museum. Then we had a gala presentation in Meralco the week
Wow.
after. So
Right,
it was attended by the Aquino family. Tapos
right,
we were able to stage this all over the Philippines, no? So
right, right,
in
right.
a way, this was also instrumental to or a precursor to Pinoy's campaign.
Exactly. Yun nga, timing niya kasi 2010 elections na soon, di ba?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and we finished staging this around February or March of 2010.
Right, right,
So talagang May was the election. So in a way, this also helped Pinoy's campaign.
right. And what was your interaction with late Pinoy? I mean, like I know we are digressing a little bit, but since we're talking about this, I mean, first of all, can you tell me a little bit about Tita Cory, right? Like, what was your impression of her? Obviously, you met her. These were not the best time for her, but I'm sure she was reminiscing on her legacy and all. Can you tell us, or what you're comfortable in sharing? Kasi yun nga, hindi natin pinag-usapan their human side. We always talk about
Yes,
them as icons, as political figures. Pero tao rin sila, di ba? I mean, Chris
of
Aquino,
course.
alam natin yung personal life niya, but
Yeah,
more or less nothing about the rest, right? Can you tell me
yeah.
more about that,
Well,
Vince?
honestly, during her reign as a president, I was out of
Right,
the country, so I was
right.
already studying theater, and
Right,
I was already employed as a stage manager in New York. So, um,
right,
to
right,
tell you honestly, back then I was really apolitical.
right, right.
Although,
Artist ka talaga, full artist.
oo, kaya lang kasi yung dad ko was really
Of
talagang
course.
um, Ninoy fan, no?
Right, all
So
in.
in fact, my dad brought me to the biggest funeral in Philippine history. So I was there
Oh,
like
you were
around
there
10,
during the Ninoy.
yes, 10 or
Oh,
11 years
wow.
old. And I was with my dad in Luneta. And in fact, because of the large group of people, my dad lost me, and he found
Wow.
me clinging tightly to the black fabric. This is so
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course.
cinematic,
Yeah, yeah,
Richard.
yeah.
I
Talagang
was like
artist,
holding
talagang
tight to
artist ka talaga,
to
ng
the
bata pa
black
lang.
fabric, and I was
Oh,
crying.
yeah.
So, well, eventually that became my dad's usual kwento kapag ka may mga inuman. that Ninoy is guiding my son. He wants to guide my son. That's why my son was clinging
Yeah.
tightly to
So
the
he
black
gave a
fabric.
spiritual, parang spiritual kind of an interpretation to that.
Yeah, but that is something, to tell you honestly, that is something which is quite vague in my memory. So hindi ko alam if that is just kwento,
Right.
nagdag ko, or it
Pero,
really happened.
pero
So
Vince, sorry, I'm cutting you. Sorry,
yes,
I had no idea you were there during that, likely one of the most momentous, no, moments, or like mga watershed moments of Philippine history. From yung sa maliit na naalala mo, kasi I know 10 years old is still very tender, pero ako, for instance, 4-year-old pa lang ako, nag-earthquake dito sa Baguio, so it was so traumatic. Hanggang ngayon, I have flashbacks, no? So when you have
yeah.
those very intense moments, even if batang-bata ka pa, your brain is not fully formed, it comes
Mm.
back to you, no? So from dun sa mga reminiscences mo, from when you were 10, no? What was it all about? Like, who are there in the funeral? Ito ba yung mga kunyaring mga dilawan lang ba? Ito ba yung mga aktivista? Or was it every Juan de la Cruz and Juana de la Cruz? Can you
So
tell us more
before the
about that? This is very
funeral,
important.
this is very glaring because this is quite vivid
Right.
in my memory.
Right.
On August 21, 1983,
Right.
I just turned 10 during that time, and there was a huge blackout that I can vividly remember. There was a huge blackout for like 8 hours, maybe because for news blackout as well. So my dad received a phone call, landline, and my dad apparently cried. So I was like asking my mom why paano nangyari. Tapos my dad was just crying, and he was just telling wala na si Ninoy, wala na si Ninoy. Syempre, hindi naman ako familiar kay Ninoy noon. So I was like thinking that Ninoy was a relative or a close friend of my dad. So eventually on August 30, my dad brought me and entire family.
Correct.
Okay. The entire family to Luneta, and we were there. My dad lost me, and he found me clinging tightly to the fabric attached to the truck, serving as Ninoy's funeral hearse.
Right.
So up to this point, I really do not know the relevance of that particular incident. But what I'm actually thinking right now is maybe that very symbolical. No, maybe Ninoy is still guiding me up to today, and that actually is the culmination of the film.
Right.
I didn't announce that for promotion, etc. Because I don't want the film to be personal.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I didn't
dramatize and all that. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yes. So I dramatized it, and the one who portrayed is my 11-year-old son.
Right.
So this is just like something.
Portraying you in the movie. Right.
Yeah, who played me.
So
but
there was sa anak mo yan, Vince? Sorry, I'm cutting it because I didn't know about this. Is all new news to me, no, Vince? So we're talking about your movie Ako si Ninoy, but before going to the movie, I want to understand the thought process, the personal experiences, everything behind this. So your son is playing the role that you did in real life during the funeral of Ninoy, right? How did you explain this to your son, that watershed moment in your life?
No, my son's quite aware of Ninoy's sacrifice.
Right.
Since 5 or 6, I've been teaching him, and I've been reading a lot of documents, a lot of articles to him. I even showed him the picture of Ninoy. Well, this is quite terrifying, but I showed him the picture of Ninoy in the casket. Because di ba parang hindi pininisan si Ninoy and all. So I showed that to him, and I was explaining that Ninoy was actually instrumental for us to regain our democracy. So that's quite, it's quite important for us to teach our children those things. Kasi nga, DepEd has already, removed the Philippine history in the basic education curriculum. So parang tayo, we have the responsibility to teach Philippine history to our children.
Wow, sorry, I was not prepared for that. So that's your personal experience. And then, of course, later on, you'll meet Tita Cory, no? So what was the context of?
No, I want to go back to your question regarding the funeral.
Who were there? Sino ba yan? How representative of the Filipino people it was? Yes.
I saw a group of young people. That's what I remember. Students,
right.
A large group of young people, and there were also well, yung mga matatanda na, no? But I can vividly remember na yung mga matatanda, umiiyak talaga sila, no?
Right.
So
Right.
it was quite a long walk for the entire family. Kaya lang, nagkalas-kalas sa kami, umalis sa kami dun sa
Right.
talagang funeral nung nasa Rizal Monument na kami. Kasi I can remember that the car of my dad was parked there, etc. Parang ganun lang. Parang then we left na. Umuwi na kami.
Right.
What I want to say is this, hindi, kasi ngayon, di ba, if we see rallies, talagang kung sino yung mga progressive eh.
Exactly.
Alam
Exactly.
mo eh.
Demarcated.
Katulad kanina, I
Correct.
was in EDSA. So,
Correct.
because we're celebrating EDSA today. So, I was in I performed for two groups, no? One in People's Monument, no?
Mhm.
In White Plains.
Right.
Mga progressive talaga. So, talaga with all the flags, etc. Tapos dito naman sa EDSA Shrine, nag-perform din kami around 11:30. Mga, ano naman, yung civil group naman. So,
Right.
so mahalata mo eh. Mahalata mo yung ano
From
nila.
left to liberal.
Oo. So, yung mga nagpapapicture dito, talagang, dito sa mga civil group, talaga mga Inglesero talaga.
Medyo konyo.
Hi, direct, I'm from Ayala, ganyan.
Right.
Sabi ko, magkaiba talaga yung dalawang grupo. So, yon. But in the funeral of Ninoy, well, I was 10, but just recently ko lang na-realize na yon, hindi sila yung mga progressive groups lang. Parang halo-halo. And I can sense that, well, we had unity back
Yeah.
then. And that is the genuine and authentic unity.
The reason, Vince, I'm asking this is because dun sa movie na Made in Marites, I'm sorry, Made in Malacanang, ito na naman ako, para ito yung Magellan Junior ko na Jeopardy. No? So, going back to this, Vince, kasi dun sa mga final scenes, no, may pagka Marie Antoinette French Revolution style na parang mobs were attacking this beautiful Bourbon family and the big, may mga ganun, di ba? So the reason I ask is because yun yung portrayal nung kabila, no, dun sa mga tao na involved sa EDSA. But obviously, yung mga tao na sa funeral ni Ninoy will be also the engine of political transformation in the next 3 years or so. I mean, you tell me, Vince, no? I mean, we're not doing this as historians. We're doing this as, two Filipinos who care for their country. Sa tingin mo, if not for assassination of Ninoy, would EDSA have happened in 1986, 2 to 3 years later? Like how important that moment of unity was for the political transformation that was going to come in a few years' time.
Honestly, I don't want to trivialize, the movement before Ninoy's death.
Of course, exactly.
Kasi baka naman sabihin that was actually the start. No,
it's not
in
the
fact,
start. Yeah,
there were a lot of movements even before Ninoy's death, no? So, but in a way, siguro kung hindi namatay si Ninoy, because Cory was really a strong opposition icon.
Afterwards na, no? Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Oo, kasi ang feeling ko, if it wasn't Cory, well, kasi the leading candidate during that time was Doy Laurel.
Yeah. Who didn't have necessarily the unifying charisma perhaps that Cory had.
Yes, precisely. That's my oo. Kumbaga parang medyo ang ano kasi ni Doy parang mga Mare, 'di ba? Parang ganoon ang Sorry
Sorry, sabi
mo.
Medyo malinis tignan.
Yes, malinis tignan. Oo. So, alam mo naman ang Pinoy, hindi ganoon. Kaya nga nananalo yung mga Robin Padilla, di ba? Kasi talagang kaya sumisikat yung mga Daryl Yap eh. Kasi gusto nila talaga yung ganoon eh. Di ba? Yung mga talagang binabardagul, nakikipag-away. Di ba? Kaya nga ngayon, parang after Duterte, parang iniisip ko, teka, ano pa ba yung mabuti? Ano pa yung mabuti? Kasi wala talo na pag mabuti ka eh.
Hindi talaga. You cannot be timid, no? Bawal ang timid pa decent. Talaga you have to be palaban. And actually, that's why
really a jungle out there.
Kaya I like Ninoy because palaban si Ninoy. I mean, if you watch his speeches, of course, we'll talk about your movie shortly and how it was portrayed by your lead actor, which I saw very good reviews of, by the way. From historian friends, etc. Mamaya na tayo magbardagulan. No, Ninoy, he was brilliant, right? I mean, of course, Vince, ako medyo mayabang ako, di ba? Aminado ako, like I know what's a great speaker, right? I mean, I'm not gonna go into it, right? But when I watch Ninoy, especially because there's the young Ninoy and then there's the heroic Ninoy, right? The young Ninoy clearly was ambisyoso, right? I mean, let's be very clear. He was a politico, right? And alam natin,
Trapo.
yeah, talagang traditional politician to the max, no? Wala tayong denial dyan. And just like Tatay Digong, just like McCoy, he would reach out to different sites. Kaya ngayon, pwede nila kalkalin yan because hindi naman totally wrong or lie or fake news na Ninoy was reaching out to, different sites given in. But the mature Ninoy, the heroic Ninoy was really different. In fact, what I like about Ninoy is the arc of redemption. Yung kanyang transformation from a...
The transformation.
Yun nga yung inspiring.
Which I believe, kasi nga ito nga the other camp kasi is actually very, well, they've been cutting videos, using those videos out of context, kasi if you cut one portion, kasi pwede mo na ma-prove yun na ganun. Kasi you have to understand the entire context of say, Ninoy's speech. Kaya lang, pagka ganyan, nagka-cut ka, okay lang yun. Kasi pwede naman nila nakuha yun during the trapo time of Ninoy. Kaya lang, what they do not understand is the fact that there was a transformation. Exactly. And this transformation happened during, well, I have read all the memoirs, all the journal of Ninoy. It was given to me by the Benigno Aquino Foundation with the help of Kiko D and Tita Balsi also in 2009. And I was, alam mo, nanghilahab ko talaga ako kasi, well, in 2009 when I was writing it and I was researching, nakita ko talaga yung dalawang Ninoy, no? Yung when he was mayor, the youngest vice governor, the youngest governor, the youngest senator of the republic at 35. So talagang nakita ko yung changes from that particular point of his life to after Laur, after his incarceration. So magkaiba yon. You will see the journal of that time when he was a politician, and you will see also his diary after the imprisonment. So talagang makikita mo yon. And I believe that because I myself, the only constant in my life now is change. So nagbabago din ako, no? Lalo na nung tumanda ako kasi ibang-iba talaga ako before. Talagang pabaya ako, I can finish like the entire chicharon ng lapid na ganito kataas. I don't care about my health before. I can like drink one case of beer. Pero ngayon, wala na. Ano na lang pare.
Health conscious na. Mamaya tayo mag-skincare Vince, mamaya tayo mag-usap ng skincare because I talked to some of my friends about this also, no? I'm sure maraming concern. No, I mean, the reason I want to talk about this Ninoy thing is really fascinating is because you have done a lot of research for this movie, no? And you talk to the family members, to Cory, to Pinoy, to Paul, and others. I mean, the thing with Ninoy is that we see a similar arc with other great heroes, no? I mean, you look at Gandhi, Gandhi in South Africa, medyo dodgy, diba? Like, he would try to angat himself at the expense of yung mga, mga Africans. And then alam din natin with Mandela, he was a very aggressive, militaristic person before his incarceration. So, I don't want, okay, fine, let's call it this way. There's a Mandela moment, right? There's a Mandela moment whereby men who are made of steel transform into something else. No, they go into this flow, into this zen, and then they become kind of elder statesmen, men of wisdom. No, and for me, kasi nakakilabot yung kay Ninoy because he was brutally assassinated in ways that Mandela was not, thankfully, no. And yes, Gandhi was also assassinated, but I mean, yung Ninoy kasi talaga in front of international TV, and more than that, diba? He was being interviewed just few minutes before and he was saying that this could happen in the coming minutes. Like, grabe when you think about it, nung pinapanood ka parang, for a moment, like, Richard, put aside your politics. Siyempre, progressive ako, di ba? So may mga skepticism ako sa liberalismo sa Pilipinas. I'll be honest about it, right? But for a moment, park that, no? Like, look at it as a human story, right? Look at it as a human story. By the way, someone very close to me who was sitting next to him, in fact, had an emotional email to me when I wrote something about Ninoy's legacy. So this person attested that things that I reflected on when it comes to Ninoy actually were true. And so I was very touched by that someone was next to him until the last moment said, Richard, kuha mo, exactly this was what was happening. Kaya for me, it's important to talk about Ninoy na hindi lang natin siya i-park as an icon and then just leave it there kung
Yeah.
timeless or hindi. No, let's talk about it because he's a living testament to human transformation, and that alone for me is something inspirational. No, kaya naintindihan ko bakit ka inspired. Now, you want to talk more about Ninoy because I want to also transition to Corazon because of course she also played a very important role. I want to understand this transition too because of course Vince, the common criticism against the late President Corazon Aquino was that, well, she just filled in the gaps. It was really Ninoy and everything, right? It was the gravitas of Ninoy.
That's true.
And because she was not seen as a threat by anyone, and at the same time she could be also not man palengkera, but she could literally go to the palenque. And remember that, like the juxtaposition she did with Imelda, diba? Na Imelda is touch, right? And so that shows that actually she has political instincts and all. But I want to get your point of view. What is your understanding of transition from Ninoy to Corazon Aquino, and the fact that you also met at least one of these two, right? I mean, and you properly conversed with them, right?
Yeah. I conversed with the PCCA like 3 times.
Right.
And as I said, I was apolitical before that moment. But at that moment, when I was able to talk to her, I can sense that she was really very humble. In fact, she told me, Vince, do not write just about us.
Correct.
Write also about our people. So I was like thinking na, oh, come on. This is a bio stage play. So ayaw niya na sila lang. So anong gagawin ko? So that's why I incorporated here the 11 modern day heroes, even in the film. So if you have read the synopsis of Ako Si Ninoy, this is not only a Ninoy biopic.
Exactly.
This is also juxtaposes to lives of 11 modern day heroes, because now I can understand the relevance of what Tita Cory said, that they're nothing without the Filipino people. Now I can see that powerful triangle, the triumvirate, the invisible tie that binds us all, Ninoy, Cory, and the Filipino people.
Right.
So I guess that is kumbaga parang sinasabi ni Tita Cory na wala kami without the Filipino people. So please include them in the story. So yun, it's actually a testament of heroism. Well, we have 11 modern day hero characters. We have teacher, we have a doctor, we have an artist, we have a student, we have a child hero, we have a senior citizen, we have a reporter, we have an OFW, we have a housewife. So yun, ganun yung ano. Pero presently yun. Kaya di ba ang daming mga lumalabas na mga pangbabash sa akin kasi may cellphone daw, may high ace daw doon sa movie, sa trailer. Sabi ko na,
was that an overlook? What was that, oversight, or what was going on there?
No, because that's a modern day scene.
Exactly.
Oo, so hindi sabi nila wala pang cellphone nung panahon ni Ninoy, but may cellphone diyan, ganyan. So hindi pa nila, kasi alam mo naman judgmental yung mga naghahanap talaga sila ng butas doon sa pelikula. Oo. So yun,
so how was Corazon Aquino? I mean,
I was blown away, Richard. Ito yung word ko kasi a lot of people were asking kasi nga na-meet ko siya. Iba yung mabait, iba yung mabuting tao.
In what sense?
Mo ba ako?
I mean, I kind of see where you're coming from, but I mean, you can be mabuting, you can be mabuting tao na medyo baluhura, right? So I think that's me. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Meron yung mabait pero wala namang ginagawa, and you don't know kung genuine talaga, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, may mabait,
I know what you're
like,
saying.
ay, ang bait-bait mo, parang pwede ka mag-host ng di ba? Pero hindi ka mabuting tao talaga, corrupt ka. May mabuting tao naman, pero yun, balahura, bastos, something. Pero mayroon ding mabait at mabuting tao.
Both at the same time.
Both. I guess that was Tita Cory.
That was Cory. I see what you're saying. So you're saying Ninoy was more like balahura, but he had good intentions. But Cory had both. Good intentions and polite and really nice person.
Yes, oo. So yun yung description ko when I was, sabi ko, ang swerteng tao siguro ni Tita Cory for being blessed that way. I mean, being mabuti and at the same time mabait. Kasi I don't want to say that I'm mabait, Pero I know that I'm mabuting tao.
Or we try our best,
Ewan ko
right?
kung mabait ako. Alam mo yun?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, to be honest, yeah, super mabait. Si Ballsy also. I mean, you could see them, no?
Yeah.
I mean, Pinoy naman, God bless him. May moments naman siya na lumalaban din na medyo ano, 'di ba?
Yeah.
But you can see, I mean, okay, maybe I'm fast forwarding this, but I remember nung Ninoy Aquino, Pinoy passed away. There was this meme kung saan it was the picture of Ninoy, parang cartoon siya, mom and dad,
Yeah.
and come son, you're joining us. Medyo kinalabot ako na, like that, I was not prepared for that. Kasi I was giving interview all around the world about the political legacy. And then nag-pop up bigla sa Facebook ko. Diba? Ang bait ng mukha ni Cory, and then si Ninoy nakaganon, and son, come and join us. Medyo naano ako doon. Medyo I was not prepared for that. Like, kasi critical talaga ako sa ating politika, diba? But that really got me. I'm sure that's even more for you because I didn't have any interaction with Corazon Aquino. I had interaction with President Aquino, yes. And Ninoy, I have no direct memory of him because I was born out after EDSA, no? So hindi ko,
I also had like moments with Pinoy.
Right.
Grabe, iba magkaiba eh. Parang si Pinoy kasi parang ewan ko, parang hindi naturuan ng protocol. Alam mo yung sinasabi ko?
Correct.
He doesn't know how to, the proper handshake.
Yeah, medyo may
He doesn't look
siya,
at you in the eye. Di ba? Tapos it's always nagmamadali. He doesn't say goodbye.
Parang, medyo, minsan may mga sablay din siya, God bless him. I know, I have nothing against him, no? I have nothing against him. I'm just saying, iba si Pinoy, hindi siya like Ballsy. The same way na Chris Aquino is a 1 in a billion, right? Like,
yeah.
They're very diverse people. But Cory is really a fascinating figure, you know. So Cory passes away, and then now the son takes up the cudgels. What was your sense, honestly, of Pinoy back then? Did you think that he was prepared to continue this legacy? I mean, considering, you know, Pinoy was not necessarily the most, you know, active, grandstanding politician, right? He was a very reluctant statesman, right? As far as I know.
Yeah, and I don't see him really as very charismatic as a leader or even as a contender. But during that time, maybe he was really destined to become the president. Kasi nung pagkamatay ni Tita Cory, you know, I was also part of the team na nag-ayos ng funeral at yung wake ni Tita Cory. And I was there also na tumatanggap ng mga donations. Alam mo yon. And during that time, it was PGMA. So during that time, si Tita Cory and Pinoy was really opposition. Right. Pero grabe yung like I can remember na yung Ferrero na chocolate. Di ba ang mahal nun? Parang 500 yung isang ganyan.
Yeah, I know. Gusto ko sabihin yung presyo sa
parang ganon. Pero siguro during that time sobrang mahal. Pero ako talaga yung nag-lead na kasi kaming tumanggap eh. Parang isang truck ng Ferrero chocolate para pamigay doon sa mga umattend ng wake.
Wow,
saan galing yan? Sabi ko, ang dami. So, yun lang, sample lang yun. And yung lahat, yung mga goodies na natatanggap namin. Kasi nga, kami naglilista eh, ng mga natatanggap na ano. And sabi ko,
sa organizing committee ka, Vince, nung funeral?
Yeah, nung wake. Kaya sabi ko, my God, magiging presidente si Chris o si Pinoy.
I remember yung speech ni Chris dun sa Manila Cathedral, no?
Yeah.
Remember that, right?
Yeah.
Like, whoa, what's like biglang ibang Chris Aquino came out, no? I could see reaction.
Oh my God, when she was crying and she
remember
said,
that? Yeah, I remember that.
Yes, she said na, Mom, you told us to move on, etc. But we will never move on. This will be forever. And she was crying. Oh my God.
I remember that.
Kaya I was like thinking, magiging presidente si Chris. Kasi lahat ng mga donations nakikita namin, talagang everybody, and even the funeral, that was also something, Richard. I mean, when I was young, when I was 10, 11 years old, I can see like the 2 million people. I was aware that there were like around 2 million people who attended the wake. Kaya lang, syempre, hindi ko pa na-appreciate yun. Pero yung kay Tita Cory, wherever, syempre, tagal din ng funeral, parang 8 hours din yun eh. And it was televised, you know? And talagang grabe, nakita namin yung tao, people were crying. Okay? So sabi ko, magiging presidente to. Isa dito. It's either Chris o si Ballsy. Ay, si Pinoy. So yun na nga, it happened. Diba?
I mean, honestly, I was also very apolitical, even if I was studying political science in Diliman, no? I was so apolitical because I was very skeptical of mga aktivista. Lalo yung mga ayaw mag-graduate, aktivista na ng aktivista, parehas lang sinasabi, wala nang relevance, no? So I was very skeptical, and then that happened. So yung funeral ni Cory, I remember, sumama ako doon sa mga rallies, etc. I think some people even saw my pictures next to Riza, may mga naghanap doon online. No? So I'm not denying it. I was there. So that was really a moment of political awakening, not necessarily in a pro-Pinoy way or something like that. No, it's just like, wow, there's drama to our politics. There's their emotions, etc. And of course, to be clear about this, Arroyo is Tita Arroyo, right? We're kind of related to her, right? So you know what I'm saying? Like, so I was coming into this without any manok, diba? Like parang, ay, bahala kayo mag-away na kayo dyan, diba? As critical as I was of the whole political system. But yeah, that was also a very transformative moment. So when you're explaining this, Vince, bumabalik din sa akin yung moment na yan eh. Kasi that's really where this Haydarian you see started, because the pre-2009-8 Haydarian was a very different Haydarian. It was a very corporate, self-interested Haydarian. So I also understand where this is coming from. So what
the drama, di ba, Richard? The drama.
Grabe. I mean, if you're an artist or you're a writer like me or something like this, these are really transformative, no? I mean, these are the things that will never leave me. And the Philippines, kasi Catholic country tayo, di ba? Pansin mo yung mga Catholic countries, Spain, Latin America, Italy. Our politics is different dun sa mga ibang bansa. There's just this messianic theme always there. There's this redemption theme. You know, the Jesus Christ Catholic, message is always very strong in our politics. Nakita ko talaga yan. I don't see that as much in other societies. Iba talaga yung sa atin. So I'm sure you as a lawyer, as an artist, and an activist, no, and of course whose family has been very involved in the progressive movement, I'm sure this was really transformative for you. Now, can you tell me a little bit about also Pinoy's time before we go to your movie? You know naman my style. I really want to juice out my guests. Just the other night, 1 hour din kami na Ambassador Romualdez naman about BBM and foreign policy, etc. So you know me, this is my style.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone else is doing this in the country so far. I mean, I'm trying my best. So, pasensya na, hindi pa-cute lang gusto ko talaga i-juice out to. So I'm treating you as a historian almost here because you read the documents. Kasi you talk to these people, you went through the documents, diba? I do my best. I talk to the policymakers. Namit ko na si Digong, namit ko na si BBM. These things also inform how I understand and analyze politics. What about the Pinoy time? What was going on there with you? Honestly,
I don't like Pinoy as a person, honestly. Kasi nga, well, I met him like 3 times also, because he watched our NINOY play, and then we were awarded with Tayo, yung 10 Accomplished Youth Organization in Malacanang. So I also attended that, and we were like had brief moments together, and I also met him parang towards the end of his regime. So ang yun nga sinasabi ko sa iyo na parang malayo sila ni Tita Cory. Parang si Pinoy kasi parang ang tingin ko sa kanya parang nerdy.
Yeah.
Parang yung the nerdy Aquinos, kasi may mga nerd sila eh, di ba? May mga nerd yung mga Aquinos eh. Yung parang ganun siya, yung parang almost dorky.
The thing is, to be fair to Pinoy, no, I know he was a big fan of German politics. So I think the idea of leader is more like Angela Merkel, no, like Chancellor Merkel. Pansin mo sa mga German leaders, malinis, maayos, decente, malakas yung dating, pero no drama. Super dry almost, right? Like
dry, almost,
And I know super fan niya yung German politics. So I'll call him German. He's more like a German politician, which is a compliment.
You got the right word, Richard. He was really dry. And the way he, sabi nga may mga ano pa noon, may mga, Vince, turuan mo nga yan magsalita, ganyan kasi di ba director ka, turuan mo nga yan. Kaya lang, syempre, during the campaign also.
Pero magaling siya magsalita. I mean, I'm very impressed with Nino when I really get back to it, because I watched The Sun in person and I saw him. Kasi naabutan ko yung time na si Marrojas pa rin yung tumatakbo, and then backup si Pinoy. Like Mar will give the speech, kaida balagtasan, kind of similar to BBM, right? Malinis, maayos, that's it. And then Aquino would come in freestyle, and then he's super bilingual. Like, ang English niya, perfect yung Tagalog niya, and he's funny. He was actually, so he's like dry humor.
He would like throw jokes.
Some dry humor.
Jokes were really funny.
Yeah, as in witty siya.
Pero, witty siya. Kaya nga lang, yung delivery,
Yeah.
Medyo dry yung delivery niya. Magandang
Filipino.
content niya, kapatid. Maganda yung content niya. Kaya lang, kapag ka nagde-deliver siya, yun nga, parang dry. Parang wala masyadong drama. Kaya sabi, uy, turuan mo nga yan. Tapos yun na, I was like, telling you a while ago na he had like a weak handshake. Di ba? Di ba kasi there's a proper handshake, yung
Si Duterte rin
alam mo yung web dapat should hold, yung web ng dalawa, ganun. Siya parang gano'n, tas malambot, maano. So, gano'n.
BBM,
Parang,
ganun siya mag-shakehan sa'yo. Pupunta pa siya
oo.
sa'yo. Di ba?
Oo,
Papansin mo
pero
si
hindi
BBM pag
tight. Hindi
nag-shake
tight,
hands.
parang gano'n, parang
Yeah, that's
nagmamadali.
the BBM style. Talagang ma-charm ka talaga.
Oo. Pagkatapos yun yung parang nagmamadali siya pagka naglalakad. Remember when Pope Francis visited the country? Tapos nauuna siya, di ba? Pero parang may protocol yun na dapat sabay sila eh. So may mga gano'n.
May mga, I mean, let's be honest, there were really a lot of problems back then. And Mama Sapano, among others, I felt, honestly, I was turned off after that. Not only because of what happened with Mama Sapano, it's also because, I mean, that was big, no? And then Mayor Magalong here in Baguio, we had a long interview about that because he was very much at the center of the investigation. But also how he responded to the critics. I didn't feel that was the most Cory or doing things. So we're not here doing worship of politicians, etc. No, as much as we want to give credit and all. Now let's go to your movie. No, we just did the background. Now let's go to the meat of the conversation, which is, so is this a trilogy? What are you looking at? Connected ba lahat ng mga ginagawa mo? Kasi naalala ko dun sa previous movie mo, there was kind of, it ends really on the Ninoy galvanizing effect, etc. And then like some sort of moment of unity and it's a redemption and hope. But it ends there, diba? So kind of my feel is parang, hindi naman cliffhanger, but I think it smoothly paves the way for your next movie, which is Ako si Ninoy. Or am I overinterpreting it? What's going on there?
Honestly, no. Because, Richard, kasi nga, all my movies were actually adapted from the stage plays, which I did like a decade ago. So, ano siya, hindi siya talagang yung, alam mo yon, yung talagang pinaplano
serialized. Yeah, hindi siya serialized.
In fact, last year, August 21, I saw hashtag Ninoy was a traitor trending in Twitter.
Yeah.
Okay, and I saw a lot of tweets like Ninoy was the mastermind of Plaza Miranda bombing. Ninoy was the founder of CPP-NPA. It was Cory who planned on assassinating his husband. Ganon. So that prompted me to adapt my stage play before to a film. So walang mga tawag dito, yung para sabayan ulit yung Daryl Yap na next installment, walang ganon. Talagang hindi naman ako guided sa ano ni Daryl Yap eh. Ang akin kasi, as long as there are the proliferation of disinformation in the country, fake news, etc., hindi lang naman siya eh. It is so organized na.
Nakiride lang siya. Yeah, nakiride
lang siya.
He's not the, mama queen of all of this. It's not
of disinformation. Okay, kung yun yung gusto niya na crown niya. But ano talaga ito, this has been organized way back early 2000s. So, but now we are actually realizing or harvesting the havoc of that organized parang proliferation of disinformation.
Tell me more about that because because I want to move now to the movie and all also, and I wanted to also ask, what are the lessons you learned from your previous movie, because that was also a question of transition. Now, how do you make a stage play into a movie? So we had some conversation about babalikan natin, but I like what you said, because this is what I've always been saying, because thanks to Maria Ressa, our friends in Rappler, among others, there's this whole idea that really Duterte was the king of fake news, and to use Lula's way of describing Bolsonaro, like, and so parang we treat it as if it's a 5-year, 6-year, 10-year phenomenon. But I know at the very earliest, at least in terms of online, YouTube channels, meron tayo, Yellow Monkey Cage, mga ganun, like 2010, 11, meron na yan. But we're saying even in the 2000s, meron ng, we're talking, by the way, online disinformation. Iba pa yung black propaganda, panon pa ni ano yan. Aguinaldo yan. Huwag tayo pumunta yan. We're just talking about this online disinformation campaign. What do you mean early 2000s? What were the indications of that?
Well, I believe kasi when we went to Ilocos, during that time, parang si BBM was governor.
Right.
Early 2000 yon. And when we went there, parang there was this yung museum nila. Yung museum
Oh,
nila.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Uy, napakinggan mo ba yung nagsasalita doon? Kasi there was this curator who
Yeah,
would
I mean,
talk like,
Ilocano also, we pay our respects to our, what I'm saying,
yeah, oh my
I know
God,
what
like
you're
it
saying.
was like
Yeah,
2 hours inside the museum. Tapos there were
yeah,
like a lot of ito yung medals, etc. Ganyan-ganyan. So,
yeah.
sabi ko, oh my God, this is really happening in that town. So maybe this will, spread all over the country. And
Correct.
in fact, it did. It did, no? So, parang there was the main objective really of the family is to really to change the image of the family. I mean,
Changed history
uh,
along the way, yeah.
yeah, to capitalize on their legacy, so to speak. So ganon, parang even before yung Facebook or ano, meron na sila, although hindi online, yung parang
Yeah,
ganon, yung may nagle-lecture ganyan, tapos
right.
kami we were listening, tapos ang galing nung nagle-lecture, by the
Yeah,
way.
talaga may
So
conviction. Yeah, talagang
oo, may conviction.
yeah, I know.
Tapos ikaw, tapos we were I was together with some of people from Nueva Ecija kasi it was like for ATBP, which is alternatibong teatro ng Batang Pilipino. So
Right.
we were together with from kids from Nueva Ecija,
Right.
kids from Bulacan, and we were
Right.
during that time, yung naniwala yung mga taga Nueva Ecija, alam mo yun? Doon sa
Yeah,
nagsasalita.
Vince, kasi, diba, I mean, I'm saying it from my personal experience. Of course, I was born here in Baguio. I grew up in the north. So,
Mm,
you know what? I was
mm,
exposed to the narratives. No, not
mm,
necessarily from immediate family and all. So I have to be honest and transparent about this. So it was really when I studied in Diliman that, I had a much more in-depth, systematic understanding. But for me, kasi, the reason why I never judge people who were pro Marcos, etc., is because I understand if you're really frustrated dun sa kakulangan ng ating government, dun sa mga kapalpakan and corruption, our trap of politics,
mm.
it's really easy to romanticize the past. Kaya nga I said, the term false nostalgia is redundant because nostalgia by nature is false because it's this emotional yearning for a better past so that you can forget
It's
your
always
horrible present.
false.
Exactly.
Nostalgia is always
It's always
false.
false, right? So false nostalgia
Yeah.
is actually a kind of a redundant term. But
Mm.
having said that, my point is, I don't know, ikaw, like, of course, parang sa mga tribalistic mo yan kasi Ilocano sila, they'll support their own. But ako kasi, naintindihan ko why even non-Ilocanos would support that way of thinking is precisely because ang daming frustrated sa mga kakulangan na nangyayari sa ating bayan. That's why I was asking you, like, what is your understanding of that? Kasi, Ninoy sacrificed his life in many ways and Cory tried her best and yet, things haven't been looking so fantastic for average Filipinos. Maybe for you and for me, things have been improving in some ways. I mean, thank God. But let's be honest, for vast majority na ating mga kababayan, things have not really been significantly improving, no? So, I don't know, how did you process also that part? Kasi kaya nga sinasabi ko parati, Vince, don't blame people for being susceptible to disinformation because first you have to understand why are they even open to disinformation aside from educational issues, because I don't buy the education argument because ang dami namin mga kamag-anak dito, mga doctor, lawyers who have points of view who are like, not sure about that, right? So hindi ito issue ng talino, it's an issue of emotional state of mind, no? Kung ikaw ay frustrated talaga sa mga nangyari, mas maniniwala ka dun sa mga sinasabi na once upon a time we had the golden era, etc. Literally golden era and all. So, yun lang. I just wanted to throw that out, Vince, kasi I wanted to get your point of view as someone, as an
Yeah,
artist.
alam mo,
Yeah,
feeling ko, to tell you honestly, we're just going on circles.
yeah, right.
Eventually, now we are being governed by a Marcos. Eventually, lalabas na naman, history will judge them again,
Cyclical
and
lang
then
tayo.
gano'n na naman, babalik lang yan. Tapos, sasabihin na naman yung mga Aquino, that's the best time because the icon of democracy is Cory, etc. Ganun lang yan.
Is that a good thing or is it a bad thing? I'm not sure about that. Like, is that a good thing or is that a bad thing?
I don't know, Richard. So, right now, maybe, well, I'm opposing the present administration. Pero at the same time, minsan napapatanong na rin ako, Richard, alam mo yon,
Exactly,
parang
like,
napapatanong na
kailan
rin
ba
ako sa
tayo
sarili ko.
ganyan lang?
Oo, parang, teka, parang tama nga yata yung mga Marcos. Parang gano'n. Parang, teka nga, tumahimik nga muna ako. Pero, teka, parang, may gano'n na ako ngayon.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Totoo
Like,
lang.
parang may papaisip ka once in a while na what's going
Yeah,
on. Yeah,
napapaisip ako. Like, for example, recently yung parang ang daming nagbabash sa akin na ganito. Parang naiisip ko na, teka, parang mali. Kasi I also do self-reflection. I don't have the monopoly of intelligence, so I always respect other people's opinion. So
Right.
pagka may nagsabi sa akin, may lumapit lang sa akin, teka nga, oo nga, parang tama nga pa. Ganon
Right.
ako ngayon. Ang tanda ko na kasi. So kapag naiisip ko yung sobra ako sinisira, binababoy sa
Right.
social media, parang iniisip ko, teka, may nagawa ba ako? May nasabi ba ako?
Right.
Parang ganon.
No, I know. We will talk about that very shortly also because, I
Mm.
want to have some very honest conversation about the toxicity of the current state of conversation, including among those who are supposedly part of the progressive movement and opposition, etc. But let's go back to the movie. So the question I
Mm.
have, Vince, is this: what are the things that you try to improve on based doon sa mga legitimate critiques, no? Hindi ba na critiques ng previous movie mo? Because your previous movie, I think there were some challenges, right? Yung modality yun eh. Shifting from stage play to on screen.
Yeah.
Mahirap talaga yan. It's not gonna be a smooth sail, no? So what are the lessons you learned from there that
Yeah.
you try to apply here? What are the things you try to improve on or tweak?
Number one, Richard, financing. Because I have
Okay.
better
Pera,
I have
okay.
better funds now.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Kasi nga, kumita yung katips. Although
Correct.
sinasabi nila, nag-flop yung katips, nilangaw, etc. But the truth of the matter is, kumita
Did
talaga
well,
siya.
yeah,
So
it did well.
I had like enough funds to utilize for the shooting, etc. So we had like extensive research pre-production stage. We were
Right.
able to get a lot of good locations for Ninoy. We had like several cameras. We use yung red cam. We were able to procure a lot of new equipment that we use for the shooting.
Yeah,
Tapos mas maganda yung lighting namin ngayon. Tapos I partnered with a good tawag dito yung visual effects team.
Right.
Yung mothership. Yung gumawa ng on the job. So and reality entertainment also.
Yeah, that was
oo.
Yeah,
So yung mga personnel nila, like we had like around 18 personnel for the visual effects lang. So it was tapos yung sound namin in-improve ko. I got wild sound. So yung wild sound, ang galing nila, ang ganda ng sound ko ngayon. So yung mga ganon.
Yeah. I noticed my sound problems dun sa isa eh. Tsaka,
meron, oo. May sound problem ako. So, yun, technical wise, medyo nag-improve. Makikita mo naman kapag pinanood mo. Now with the story,
please guys, watch and judge for yourself. Yeah.
Oo, yung sa story naman, kasi the failure of Katips was I wasn't able to lay down the predicate. That was the main problem.
Right.
Okay?
Medyo kulang sa context din eh. Like, pasok
kulang sa
agad,
contexting.
Wait
Oo,
lang.
parang mabibigla
Di pa ako ready.
Sila.
Ready, exactly.
Although the likes of Dato Reyes, talagang dig na dig nila yon kasi alam naman nila na buhay nila yon, di ba?
Of course.
So yung mga akbayan, yung mga ano, gusto yan nila Tita Eta kasi alam na nila eh. Pero yung mga if you just talk to
target
simple,
mo eh. Yeah, but mainstream din naman niche, di ba? You wanted it to be mainstream. So you have to explain the context, di ba? Siyempre naman pwede tayo lang mag-usap dyan. So what did you did in terms of contextualization, predicate, premise, all of those things? Anong ginawa mo dito?
Oo. Dito kasi, ang ganda kasi hindi siya masyadong, alam mo yun, hindi siya masyadong seryoso. Parang very light lang siya.
Right. More light.
Oo, light lang siya. So, makikita mo yung I don't want to spoil though, pero ano siya, it's really about 11 modern day individuals and how the principles and ideals of Ninoy affected them in their daily lives. And I have this like parang objective na ituro that heroism is actually it's not quite necessary for you to die in order for you to be a hero. Yung parang through ordinary means you can be a hero.
Yeah.
Parang may ganito na ano. Tapos Ninoy was narrating the entire time. So he was like explaining yung buhay niya. Tapos he was there sa modern day as a narrator, like a janitor. Ayan, nag-i-spoil ako, Richard.
Parang worried ako like, okay na yan.
Oo, I want you to watch the film. Tapos sana i-review mo siya kasi ang dami nagsabi sa akin na talagang it's like a huge improvement from Katips.
From the previous, exactly. Yun nga, kasi yun nga, like I know you're a very productive person. Makulit ka rin, medyo ADHD ka rin. So my idea is that obviously we're looking forward to even more productions out of you, right? So if a lot of us, if we give constructive critiques, is precise because we look forward to even more coming from productive artists from you. So that's why we're having these conversations. So mamaya natin pag-usapan particular. Now, what was your choice for your main actor to play Ninoy and why? And how do you think things went so far based on the actual production and the reviews?
I was able to talk to Don Monteverde of Regal, no? So I was like asking him kasi nagpunta ako doon sa office sa Makati. Nagtatanong ako, sabi ko, Don, tulungan mo naman ako kasi I want parang Ninoy na kumakanta kasi nga that's my branding. I mean, musical. Although a lot of people would say na wag ka na mag-musical, that's not really the formula for the Filipinos. Kaya lang, pinusya ko din ni Don, sabi ko, parang ayoko nang gawing musical. Hindi, Vince, mag-musical kasi diyan kakilala. So, gawin mo pa rin musical. So, ako naman. Oo, so ginawa ko. Tapos sabi ni Don, si Piolo Pascual is acting for On the Job. Sabi niya gano'n when we were planning. So gusto mo kausapin ko. Tapos sabi, si Jericho din is also acting for By Bus yata, Netflix series. Sabi, oo, parang gusto mo kausapin natin, ganyan-ganyan. Tapos I was like thinking, kasi nung sinabi ni Don sa akin, pag uwi ko, parang sabi ko, my God, pagka pinanood si Piolo, hindi siya si Ninoy eh. Si Piolo pa rin siya. Di ba? Kahit saan natin siya tingnan, kahit saan natin siya panoorin, Piolo talaga yung tingin natin sa kanya. Yung kumbaga, there will be no suspension of disbelief. Talagang you will really think that that's Piolo. So sabi ko kay Don, wala ka ba mabibigay sa akin na medyo yung parang, okay siya, sikat siya, pero hindi naman siya yung parang parang you will still be lost with the way so sabi niya, meron ako, ito singer talaga to, si Juan Carlos. So he called Juan Carlos, so sabi ko, yung ba yung German, yung half German? Oo, yun daw. So sabi ko, okay, kaya lang tisoy yan masyado. Pero sige, tingnan natin. Tapos when I was able to meet him, parang stocky siya nung time na yon. Tapos sabi ko, ay magagawa ng paraan to kasi bagay to na Ninoy. Pinasuot ko ng glasses. Tapos makulit yung bata.
Stocky too, right? Yeah.
Oo. Makulit yung bata. Parang kasi he was part of the Pink campaign. Tapos talagang di ba tumutugtog siya noon.
So
oo. Talagang siya. Tapos ang hang nung dila nung bata. Sabi niya, direct, di ba? You're being bashed by ganito by this director, ganyan-ganyan. Tapos sabi niya, direct, you can rest, ganyan-ganyan. Ako gusto kong mabash ako, ganyan-ganyan. Di ko siya uurungan, gano'n. So talaga sabi ko, okay.
Itong batan to. Okay, interpretin natin mga next time, mga actors mo.
So siya agad yung sabi ko, okay to. Tapos, yun, rockstar pa. Tapos, sabi ko, di ba you composed one? Sabi niya, yes. So you own the song, sabi niya, opo. Pwede ba isama sa pelikula? Kasi paborito ko yun eh. Ganyan. Sabi niya, sige po. Ganyan. Sabi ko, sige, ito na yung Ninoy natin talaga. So yung buwan was really part of the and he actually sang that to sa detention. Ang ganda nung buwan. Talagang showstopper yun.
So
if you will watch that.
Without spoiler too much, sige, that's something I'm gonna look forward to. What about the parts when because Ninoy was a great speaker, right? Like how do you think that was captured? Or you made sure na you give due justice to Ninoy's?
So he was also JK Juan Carlos was also an orator. So parang nagde-declamation siya, and kasi English speaking talaga siya eh. So parang mas hirap siya sa Tagalog eh.
Kasi ang galing Tagalog si Ninoy, dire-diretso eh.
So ito kasi si Ninoy kasi talagang alam mo yung Atenean twang na English. So talagang
Tagalog nila din talaga.
Oo, so sabi ko ay bagay na bagay din. So parang pinabasa ko yung yung parang speech ni Ninoy na I want to share with the motherland her anguish, her pain, her every suffering, her ganon. Ang galing ni Juan Carlos. So sabi ko, ito na talaga yung Ninoy ko. Tapos buong-buo yung boses kasi nga rock singer. So you will hear him sa movie. So tapos ang nahirapan ako yung Cory. So we were like looking for a Cory, for the right Cory. Tapos sabi ni Don Monteverde, meron ako kasi ilo-launch pala namin to yung artista namin for by bus series yata. Tapos she's a stage actress and she's also a singer. So sabi ko, ano di ina namin tapos parang scholastican yung ano yung kanyang tuwang naman. Sabi ko, sige, ito na rin kasi
mga konyo ang
singer
kinukuha
naman.
mo. Just kidding. Hindi, konyo
Ano
din
na?
po. So like, yeah, go
Mga
ahead.
konyo kasi 'di ba mga konyo naman sila. So ganun din yung manner of speaking. So sabi ko, sige, ito na lang. Nakakatawa.
You had some
So
actors
yun, tapos
from
the
Cathay
rest of the
Culture, right?
cast talaga.
Yeah.
The rest of the cast were like fictional characters. So
Right.
we only had like Cory and Ninoy, those historical
Yeah.
characters. But the rest were like ano. So I got yung supporting actor ko sa Katips, yung the one who won Infamous, si John Ray Rivas. Tapos I got Marlo Mortel. I got Cassie Legaspi, yung anak ni Zoren at saka ni Carmina.
Oh,
Tapos
interesting. Yung
yeah,
anak
I
ni
got
Isko. Saan ba yung anak ni
yung
Isko?
anak
Sa'yo
ni
ba siya or doon
Isko.
sa
Kasi
kabila?
ganito yan. So we were like
Yeah,
looking
yun
for
din. Anak ni Isko.
I got Cassie first. So sabi
Right.
ko, doon sa Sparkle, kasi nga GMA, sabi ko, sino bang ka-love team ni Cassie?
Correct.
Si Joaquin Dumogoso po, sabing ganun.
Oh, right.
Tapos sabi ko, ito yung anak ni Isko. So this happened like around September. September last year. So parang September or October. So sabi ko, ay wow, okay. So ano, kunin pwede ko makilala kasi sabi ko, yung manager niya si Daddy Wawi, who happens to be a good friend of mine also. Sabi ko, no strings attached first, but I want to meet him. So nagpunta dito si Joaquin sa office ko kasi
Right.
I can vividly remember the hashtag withdraw Lenny na nag-trend, di ba? Siya yung nagpauso nun yung bata.
Nasa
Hashtag
YT.
withdraw Lenny.
Siyempre,
So sabi ko,
tatay niya yun eh. Siyempre, di-defend niya yun. Kasi withdrawal.
correct. So, yun,
Siyempre,
sabi ko, Richard, I don't want to be, kasi nga, yung mga kakamping, di ba? Ayoko rin cancel yung pelikula kasi 'di ba pagka kinuha ko si Joaquin kasi nga nagpauso ng
Tapos yung tatay
So
niya,
nag-explain
sa
naman yung
kapila,
bata.
role ni Ninoy.
Pero nauna ko.
Yeah, I
like
know,
2
nauna
months
ka.
before.
But in terms of marketing.
Nauna ko. Yeah, so ang inisip ko lang din, baka kinuha yon kasi nga nauna kami kay Joaquin.
Balance sa'yo.
Yeah, kasi alam mo, even Marlo Mortel, nauna ko, and then the day after, Marlo showed me a text message from the director of the other movie na kinukuha nila si Marlo to play young Marcos.
Right.
Sabi ni Marlo, I already said yes to Direct Vince and I honor commitment. Sabi ng director, hindi, pwede yan, pwede ka umalis dyan, ganun-ganun. So, pinakita yun sa akin, yung text message. Pero I didn't use that for the promotion. Pero alam ko kung nangyari sa kanya yun, he will always use that. Oo. Na, alam ko naman yung mga ethics dyan sa ganyan. So, ako, totally, sabi ko, thank you, Marlo, for honoring commitments. Ayun. So, kinuha ko si Joaquin kasi he explained to me yung loyalty to the family, which of course talaga namang sinimulan na withdraw Isko, sinimulan naman ng mga taga Lenny Pero what actually sealed the agreement was the fact when I asked Joaquin, I said, if your dad didn't run, who would you vote? Sabi niya, anybody but not BBM. Sabi ko, why? Sabi niya, kasi that is something that we studied in school. Sabi niya, kami nga, wala pa kaming cases pero ang grabe kami i-cancel. Ito, yung mom niya may conviction sa graft and corruption. Tapos ngayon, ganyan. Tapos meron siyang conviction sa tax case. So sabi niya, tapos tatakbo. So, sabi ko,
even Isko, right? Isko was very critical of BBM also. So, it's not...
Yeah, so sabi ko, wow, magaling yung bata. Magaling yung bata. So sabi ko, sige, kunin natin. Kasi during that time, he was already nominated in Toronto Film Festival and eventually he won. So, yun for his film. So sabi ko, wow, magaling din. Pinag-audition ko, pinagbasa ko, ang galing din umarte. So, Sabi ko, bakit hindi natin kunin? Eh magaling naman yung bata, tapos ayan naman yung kanyang prinsipyo, eh di kunin.
So now let's go to the juicy part, the last part, but the juicy part, last but not the least. So, kamusta Vince? After 1 week into the showing, kamusta ang ano natin? What's your understanding of the reviews in general? What kind of reviews stood out for you in terms of yung mga fair ones and yung mga not so fair ones? Like, sige lang, medyo bardagulan tayo konti.
To
Hindi
tell you
naman, just for
honestly,
transparency, yeah.
during the promotion, I was like thinking, wow, this is a breath of fresh air. Kasi parang walang masyadong nagtotroll sa amin. Even during the promotion. Yung pala, parang 22 yata nila binuhos yung trolling talaga. Grabe ng 22, yung showing namin.
Budget.
Oo, yung showing namin, talagang grabe yung trolling nila. Parang up to now. Tapos their director was actually posting screenshots of my comments, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to escape yung full responsibility to my but
Sure.
yun nga, nag-usap-usap nga kami ng team ko kasi nabanggit ko to sa'yo way back ka-tips. Talagang I don't read and I don't engage na in Facebook kasi I want to protect my mental health. So, hindi talaga ako nagbabasa. I have a SOCMED manager. Alam mo yan, di ba? Kahit you go back to our interview, meron talaga akong SOCMED manager.
So, good for you. Dapat may ganun din ako. Kasi ako talagang dire-diretso na ako eh.
Hindi. Ang meron lang akong Twitter na DM. Okay, yun lang ang pinapasok ko. At saka Messenger na DM. Ay, yung PM. Correct, sa Messenger. Yun lang dalawa. Pero yung Facebook, hindi ko na pinapasok. Kasi masalimuot, masyadong nakakasakit, no? So, this particular director is actually nag-i-screenshot siya ng mga comments, ganyan-ganyan, na out of context kasi yun lang dulo, ganyan. So, may mga doon, tapos wala, as in, i-status niya. Makikita mo naman yan kapag biniset mo yung public naman yung kanyang So, nandun lahat, so sinisira niya ako, ganyan. Tapos may mga iba-ibang talagang, tapos he's wishing my death, ganyan-ganyan. Oo, mga ganon. So, ako naman, okay lang if that's his style. Okay lang. Ganyan. Yung sana mamatay na raw ako na 9:30, mga ganon.
But Vince, there were also some people, you know, like, well, bahala ka na. But there's some people who said na parang they feel na, there was not due diligence in terms of giving historical context, or maybe hindi masyado na carry yung complexity and nuances of NINOY. Like, what do you have to say about some of these critics, no?
Okay, well, kasi nga very limited lang yung tinakal ko about Ninoy's life eh. This is not really a Ninoy biopic, no? This is a celebration of Filipino heroism, honestly. So,
ako rin si Ninoy, or like we're all Ninoy, parang ganon.
Yeah, we're all Ninoy. So, ako, syempre, I was with Xiao Chua during the shoot. And we also...
Who's a great historian? He knows his stuff,
Yeah, oo. Tapos we had friends from Atom, no? Sila Carl Patrick, tapos yung mga sila Tita May. Tapos during the shooting of Ninoy's assassination, kasi I wanted really to be Rebecca Quijano, the star witness, a crying lady, was also there. She was the one who blocked nung shooting namin sa airplane, sa loob. So yun lang naman yung mga important na kailangan doon ng Pagkatapos, the rest were kasi sa play wala yung wala yung assassination eh. Wala yung assassination, wala yung plane scene sa play. So the rest I got it from the research back in 2009. And even the script, well, I asked Tita Cory, sila Bolsi Aquino, of course si Rafa Lopa, sila Lino Rivera from the Benigno Aquino Foundation. They supplied a lot of materials during that time. So yun. Tapos I believe back in 2009 I also consulted Ambeto Campo. So yun yung mga
So where is this coming from, Vince? So again, I'm not saying totality. I mean, as I said, good friends, Xiao Chua. I mean, I'm glad also Ambeth was on board in terms of consultations. I mean, I've not seen any
Yeah,
serious criticisms from the real historians, serious historians, because they're the ones that I really watch, right? I really
yeah.
respect and look forward to. Although I always have my own
Mm.
opinion, right? Regardless, no. But there are some people na
Yeah,
parang medyo mean yung
yeah.
response, and you would think that these people should actually support what you're doing, right? Which is trying to, hindi naman revive, but give some sort of immediacy and relatability and accessibility to Ninoy the icon, and making it Ninoy the person, or Ninoy the spirit of good reform, and and being a better
Mm.
person, etc. So where do you think this is coming from? Are you shocked? Are you disappointed? What's going on there? Because ako, I'll be honest, Vince, I'm gonna make this easy for you, because my sense is there's a lot of toxicity out there, and there are a lot of people who are picking fights that don't make sense at all. Like, dude, like, aren't we all here for the same cause, supposedly, right? Which is bring some sanity to our politics,
Mm.
fight a little bit of disinformation, and bring
Mm.
back yung puso ng tao, no, dun sa demokrasya, sa liberalismo, sa progressive values. So that's why ako, as a political person, like, I get shocked, and at the same time, I'm not shocked with what's going on here. You tell me, like, honestly, Vince, anong feel mo dyan? Meron kang panawagan or whatever? Not shout, not call out, pero panawagan or something you wanna tell our
Yeah,
friends?
alam mo ito, ideally, I say ideally, my
Okay,
mind pushes me to think na talagang everybody's entitled to their own opinion. No,
sure,
that you cannot please everybody.
sure.
Kasi lahat naman ng work of art may mga pangit, pero iba, uy, ang ganda.
Yeah.
No, para wala namang problema sa akin 'yon. I support that, no. So, sabi ko nga, I don't have the monopoly of intelligence. So maybe to them, hindi sila nagandahan. Kaya lang kasi ngayon, yung isang opinion ng isang tao is being utilized by
The other
let's
side.
say the other group, no? Kasi there are a lot of reviews, by the way, a lot of good reviews, tons
Can
and
you
tons, no?
recommend some of
Myriads
the
of good
reviews that you
reviews.
feel were fair? I'm not sure this is good, but which reviews do you think were really fair and objective that you want people to see on their own, diba? Are there any?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sino bang
So,
mga?
yun na nga lang, nakakapitalize sa isang review kasi nga daw sabi kakamping yun. But hindi naman lahat ng kakamping makadilaw din, 'di ba? Hindi na naman lahat ng makadilaw kakamping.
Exactly.
So yun,
And hindi
pero
lang lahat
yun
ng
nga.
kakamping dilaw ay fan ni Vince Tanyada. Like,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, oo, ganon. Oo.
It is,
So,
yeah.
yun lang. Kaya nga, ginagamit lang ng mga sabihin na natin na trolls, no? Yung mga Apollos. Ginagamit nila yung,
Yeah.
ginagamit nila yung ano na yon na sinasabi, see, basura talaga yung pelikula niyan kasi kahit
Sila
yung
lang,
kakamping, ayaw siyang suportahan. So,
exactly.
pero isa lang yun. Isa lang yun. Marami rin naman na nagandahan. Di ba kung wala naman itong political rivalry, wala lang din yung review ng isang reviewer eh. Kasi kung minsan, 'di ba, maraming reviews sa iba-iba din sa mga sa non-political films, 'di ba? May mga sobrang gustong-gusto yung Himala, may iba talaga, grabe, ayaw yung Himala. Pero a
Polarizing.
lot of people now are saying that Himala is the best film of the century. Best Filipino film of the century. So may mga ganon, no? So yun lang, talaga lang nagamit lang talaga yung isang review na yon. Pero normal naman kasi yan eh sa demokrasya eh.
So Vince,
Normal yan eh. You cannot please everybody.
how do you make sure that your creative juices keep going, and that you're not enervated or frustrated dun sa mga what you believe are unfair comments or unfair kind of posturing dito sa kasi pinaghirapan mo yan, di ba? I mean, ang laki ng gastos. This is a part of you, di ba? I mean, you cannot separate the art from the author. I mean, this is you eh. So I can imagine,
Yeah.
hindi ka lang nasaktan. Parang minsan nababastos ka na, di ba? Like, ang galing mo, sige ikaw nga. Parang I know that part of
Nang
you.
sobra. Like,
di ba? I mean, let's be honest. I
sinasabihan
know
ako
you
ng
want to be polite and
sinungaling.
all, but sige na, go ahead, say it.
Hindi, yun na nga, yung sinasabihan ako ng sinungaling, sinasabihan ako ng tawag dito, ng walang pagpapahalaga doon sa mga high school students kasi nga raw may comment ako doon na gano'n. Ang akin lang naman, alam naman ng director na yun na hindi na niya ako kalaban eh. Dahil iba na play date namin, na nauna na ako. By the time na mag-show siya, baka wala na kami.
Yeah.
'Di ba? So hindi na niya ako pwedeng
Basta
masabihan
hindi
na
ito si Direk Yap, di ba? No, just to
ano
be
na?
clear. Hindi ito si Direk Yap.
Hindi siya.
Ah, siya ba?
Siya.
Sorry, like, so I thought baka may iba na hindi ko alam. No, it's good. Sige lang.
Hindi.
Okay.
Kaya na,
It's
hindi
good.
kasi siya yung
Actually, direct
nagpo-post,
cap
no?
is good.
Nagpo-post ng,
But it's good for you.
nauunang nagpo-post. So sa ako naman, personally ako, I always choose my battles eh. Kaya nga hindi na ako nagfe-Facebook, no?
Yeah,
So,
tama lang.
recently kinausap ko yung team ko kasi nga I have my SOCMED manager kasi opinion kasi ng team ko, sumagot kasi that is also needed for
Yeah,
engagement.
of course.
Ako naman, honestly, I don't want to kasi ngayon I don't want to to be stressed anymore.
Yeah.
No, ang sa akin sa sarili ko personally, ano na lang ako, parang gusto ko just to enjoy my passion. Alam mo yung Richard na parang this is not my bread and butter also. So I just want to enjoy my passion. I want to present something na maganda, ganyan-ganyan. So kapag may mga ganyan na tungkol sa pagkatao ko, ganyan-ganyan,
Yeah.
sabi ko, bahala na sila, ganyan. Kung ano na nga, ginudge niya, sexualidad ko,
Yeah,
yung
but Vince,
pagkatao
let
ko,
me
yung...
just put it this way, Vince. I'm saying this as a friend, no? There are just so much toxicity out there because many people are just hurting, are angry, and let's be honest, a lot of people maybe because they cannot touch BBM because he's firmly in power, right? Contrary to a lot of he's really firmly in power. They're just taking it on other people who are supposedly within their, which is really sad. Parang ang tawag ko diyan ideological cannibalism, no? Parang hindi mo matalo yung kabila, kainin mo lang yung mga sa paligid mo just to keep yourself. And it's super toxic. It's really, really toxic.
Yeah.
Just yesterday, actually, until evening, I had a back and forth with some former colleague and all, and it ended very well. I'm glad that there's some good stories. And I said, where is all this hater stuff coming from? Like, this is not helping anyone. We're just hating on each other and all. And medyo nag-back down yung iba, napansin ko eh. Like, kasi at some point, parang, okay, I'm not here to prove sino mas bardagulan. Ano ba talaga to? This is not gonna help anyone. Kaya kanina nga na-post ko nga sa Twitter, sabi ko, the best way to honor the legacy of EDSA and Ninoy is to reject toxicity and, all of this self-righteous cancel culture, etc. and do something constructive, etc. So I know some people are just hurting and maybe they need therapy. Or, I don't know, come to Baguio, jog, take care of yourself. So, ang pansin nila, ikaw, ako na medyo public pa rin, go pa rin, kahit ano, they take it on us. And like, parang, dude, take care of yourself. Mamaya ka naman. So ako naman, pati ako, sometimes like parang thinking, baka I need to get a social media manager, but hindi, I enjoy it talaga, I enjoy it. So, I'm telling this to you, Vince,
Ikaw
as a friend.
remember when I talked to you a couple of months ago, lagi mo sinasabi sa akin, no Vince, enjoy the bashers, ganyan-ganyan. Enjoy the bashing kasi you really need that, ganyan-ganyan. Ako kasi, di ba, remember, nag-PM ako sa'yo, sabi ko, ay naku, yoko talaga ng mga bashers na ganyan. Kasi sabi ko, kasi nga, when my son received that gift, no, remember that story? When my son received that gift in LaSalle Green Hills, na talagang yung lewd picture, sabi ko, that's it.
Yeah,
I don't want to touch social media anymore.
That's not bashing. That's different. That's criminal na yan, like level na yan. What I'm saying is that there is a threshold up to which healthy yun eh. Parang pag ganun, di ba? Healthy yung graph, di ba? Na actually more engagement, more fire. But there is definitely a threshold after that. Ay, tama na yan. So you have to have a clear...
And Richard, that's also the opinion of my team, no? Yung PR team ko. Sabi nila, no, you answer tayo, sagot tayo kasi engagement din yan eh.
Correct.
So ako, recently, syempre, sabi nung team ko, direct, ito na, nag-screenshot si Daryl ng ganyan-ganyan na comment ng kasi may sinagot sila na parang high school, halatang high school lang yung inabot mo. Kaya puro kabobohan yung sinasabi mo, something. No? So, parang out of context kasi mahaba na yung mga comments, so kinuha na lang yon. So nagagalit ngayon sa akin, yung mga high school lang. Yung mga high school graduates. Yun naman yung nagagalit sa akin kasi yung ginawa nga ni Daryl na ganon. So sabi ko, ano pa magagawa natin? Andiyan na yan. Napaka ano ng team natin, napaka irresponsible for saying those things, di ba? So ngayon, but I own up to that. And I want to man up as well.
Ako rin, I own up.
Ang akin naman, pahinga kayo. Sabi ko, wag na lang kayo mag-ano kasi there are other things that we need to do also with the theater company. And you can never change. It's so hard to explain to people who are so who are so invested or who are so
Hating you.
determined to misunderstand you.
Yeah, I know,
So
I
wag
know.
ka na mag-explain kasi talagang ano nila yan eh.
Modus
Uh,
operandi.
Oo, so
Modus
wag ka na
operandi
lang
talaga
mag-explain
nila.
talaga.
Correct,
Pero
correct.
ikaw kasi ang galing mo eh. You know, nire-retweet mo pa tapos may mga ano kang ganon. Kasi nga,
Yeah,
you're enjoying that moment.
you should embrace it. That's all I'm saying, Vince. But Vince, of course, as a writer, we also need our creative juices, diba? So sometimes you have to break. So I have very strict Sabbath, right? Digital Sabbath and spiritual Sabbath, no? So half a day
Oo.
on Friday, full day on Sunday. So you need to be disciplined about that. Para yung
Mm.
brain mo, everything goes back. And then, enjoy mo na naman. Ang mali kasi ng iba is, they over-embrace it. And then they get
Yes.
cynical and then they give up. No. Make it sustainable. Parang gym lang yan, di ba? If you overdo
Oo.
it, ma-injure ka na, ayaw mo na. But if you do it at a certain sequence and all, magagawa
Sabi
mo.
ko nga,
It's just like yan. It's just like
sabi
gymming.
ko nga yung pakiramdam na yung before nung katips nasasaktan pa ako eh. When they say, ay, ano yan? Ako nga, sabi ko, iba't ibang pinis na yung pinakain nila sa akin. Alam mo ba yun? Parang sabi ko,
Yeah,
grabe.
it was
Sabi
really
ko,
bad. Yeah, it was really bad.
sabi ko, edi, syempre, nagagalit na, syempre, yung anak ko, nagpe-Facebook na
I
rin.
know,
Pagkatapos
that
eh,
was,
yung partner
I
ko,
understand.
nagpe-Facebook. So sabi ko, hayaan nyo na sila. So sabi ko nga sa sarili ko, Richard, parang may muscle memory na rin yung pakiramdam ko. Hindi na ako nasasaktan, honestly. Kasi
Immunity
I know
kasi yun.
myself more.
It's an
I don't
immunity.
want to
It's
I don't
like the
want to
virus.
validate, you know, the opinion of insignificant people. So,
Right.
ganun na ako ngayon. Kaya lang, pagka may mga, like kanina, nasa EDSA ako, alam mo ba, naglalakad kami kasi I park my car in Robinson's Galleria.
Oh,
Uh,
layo.
kasi sa People Power Monument, wala po parking doon eh. So, I
Sa
walk,
galerya.
no,
Yeah. Ando pala yan.
from Galleria to People
Correct.
Power Monument. Kasi yung
Correct.
second event ko sa EDSA Shrine. So sabi ko, dito lang ako mag-park sa
Correct.
sa Robinsons. I walk from Robinsons to White Plains. Alam mo ba, naglalakad ako ganun, may sumigaw na PI, bakla, ganun. Sabi ko, saan yun? So sabi ko, because of the ano na yun nga yung mga ganyan nila na
Yeah, I know.
pinapakalat sa social media.
That's definitely Bill. Now, for me, we have to call that out, all kind of prejudicial comments, etc. But at the same time, Vince, ganito na lang. I mean, a good friend of mine put it very nicely. He said, you get what you dish out. The fact of the matter is that you are in the middle of a very, very vicious information war. Na?
Yes.
So you're in for the battle for truth. Talagang ano yan, tanggapin mo talaga na it will get really ugly. And the uglier it gets, it means you're really doing something right. At the same time, take care of yourself, take care of your family, take care of your sanity, and have Sabbath. Very, very important. You have to be very about it. Meditate.
Yeah, that's what I do. Richard, that's what I do
Kasi di
actually.
maiwasan
I have my
talaga.
meditation. I have my, yung talagang totally naka-off ako sa lahat, no? Even TV, even Netflix,
Very clear,
lahat.
yeah.
May isa akong araw na ganun. Kaya lang, I'm not like you na Saturday kasi nga I'm very, nag-iiba-iba. Alam mo yan, minsan Wednesday,
No, of course you have to
minsan
be
Sunday,
flexible.
ganyan. Pero I always have that. Lalo na pagka may
Digital lang,
hangover, yung
I mean, you still
kinabukasan.
do your work. I mean, just the digital. You still do your work and all. Given na yan.
Yeah.
Just the digital, like, don't post. Like, pansin mo, there are days I don't post at all. Even if, alam mo, gusto ko talaga eh, parang ang sarap mang-asar, di ba? But, no. Siyempre, part of me saying, sayang, trending to, Richard, pwede na, di ba? Jeopardy, andyan na, di ba? So, I have to control talaga myself and all. And it's a muscle memory. You learn it over time. Mahirap siya sa first kasi gigil na gigil ka eh. But that's what I'm saying, Vince. I'm telling this as a friend. I'm just saying, embrace the moment, but don't overdo it, right? Also take care of yourself, take care of your health. Because, I'm telling this, Vince, because I was just in Madrid the other week and all. And, I brought back memories of my very good friend, Carlos Celdran, right? Carlos did a lot for our country, for our relations with Spain, for our own identity and all. And he really worked himself to the
That's
hill.
really true.
So,
I was a living witness to that as
exactly.
well.
So, alam mo yung sabi ko,
he was really misunderstood, but talagang I really adore Carlos.
Yeah, I love the guy. I love that he's a great guy. And he got, so before all of us being bashed the way we are, there was a Carlos Celdran who it was horrible. I remember he had to go abroad. Yung page binababoy talaga. And, thanks to, advice from Carlos and all, I learned. Balahura din ako. So if you bash me on my page, kawawa ka sa followers ko. Like, they will counter bash you 10 times more. So thank God, dahil sa mga followers and supporters natin, I feel safe. But you see, he was the first. He was the pioneer. And so for me, Vince, we owe it to Carlos to fight the good fight, but we also owe it to Carlos to do the best to make this a sustainable struggle. Kasi marathon to hindi ito
Yeah.
sprint. People think you make one great book, one good movie, you make your play in history. Hindi na ganun ngayon. Attention span ng tao, 1 month at most for a great work. Next year, iba na naman yan, back to zero. So we have to keep on doing this and it has to be a movement for change, for truth, for historical understanding and reflection. And so, Vincent, I'm just using this opportunity to tell you, as a friend, this is my advice. And I'm glad that you're doing the right thing, that you're not over embracing the moment, but at the same time you appreciate what's happening here. Now, can you tell us, so where can people watch your movie? Do you plan to have it also on CD? Ano bang meron ngayon? Digital pala, wala na yung CD, no? Matanda na rin ako.
Like,
do you plan to have it online streaming? What's going on?
Yeah, I'm waiting for Netflix kasi they want the 2 films, no? So Katips and Ako si Ninoy. Pero kasi syempre I want to tour Ako si Ninoy. So we have invitation from Australia, from Dubai, from Bahrain, from US, of course, yung ano na yan, yung series namin sa US na hindi nga, alam mo yan, parang kailangan Ninoy and Katips yung magkasabay. So yun, yung Canada din namin. So ilalagay ko muna, pero kasi nasa timeline na ng Netflix yung 2 pelikula. Sana umabot ng September 21 yung Katips kasi para mapanood ng marami. Pero guys, please don't wait for Ako si Ninoy in Netflix. It's still showing in cinemas. Masarap pa rin manood sa cinema. Kasi
ay, gusto niyo i-bash si Vincent, panoorin niyo at least before niyo i-bash si Vince. Or bash ako.
Grabe. Oy, sana bago niyo i-review, panoorin muna. Grabe yung mga
napansinin yung mga 1-star mga yan, hater mga yan. Yung mga nag-1-star din sa mga libro natin, mga hater yan, for sure.
Oo nga eh.
Doesn't make sense. May 5 stars ka, di ba? Tapos may 1 star. So that means hater
really
talaga yung 1 star na yan, di ba?
Oo nga
eh. 2 star, tapos may 1 star, talaga sablay ka. Pero kung may 4 star, 5 star ka, that means may hater. So, wag na napansin yung mga hater na yan. Maraming hugot mga yan. Without naming names.
Actually, may isang supporter nga na parang galit na galit siya sa Katips dati. Na I mean, supporter ni Isko yata ito pero I don't know if you know him. Models of Manila ba yon?
Si Mark. Oh yeah, si Mark. Yeah, ano ko yan? Collaborator ko yan. He liked for Ako si Ninoy. He told me. He was very
nanood siya ng Ako si Ninoy. Tapos ang ganda ng review niya. Ang ganda ng review niya. Parang sabi ko nga sana yung mga BBM supporters, manood kayo ng Ako si Ninoy. Baka hindi kayo magalit na sa akin. Totoo, kasi maganda. Exactly. Kasi alam mo, kinakalat lang nila na naku, yung mga pelikula niyan, anti-Marcos, ganyan-ganyan. Pero alam niyo, manood kayo, tingnan niyo. Hindi siya ganun. It's the story of the
Filipino people. It's not a story of one family or one clan, etc. Thank you so much, Vince. I really appreciate. I know you have a lot to do. Ito na naman, daldal na naman tayo. I think every time tayo nag-interview, humahaba yung conversation na. Hopefully next one, 3 hours na. And I look forward also to talking to some of your lead actors, etc. Maybe next time talk about also their role. Kasi syempre mga bata yan. I'm sure this was also a formative experience for them. And ako, I just hope this becomes a new movement in Philippine cinema, which is historical movies, politically relevant movies, socially relevant movies. Kasi, no offense, I mean, I know Vice Ganda and all have fascinating, entertaining movie, but I hope that our cinema goes more than just yung mga, ano ba na, diba? I mean, I want to be nice, diba? So, yun lang. Makancel na naman tayo na to.
Oo nga eh.
Thank you. Salamat, Vincent, for doing
Thank you, Richard. Guys, I'm inviting you to watch Ako si Ninoy, still showing in cinemas nationwide. Alam niyo,
sa Baguio meron?
Juan Carlos.
Sa Baguio meron?
Meron dyan. Oo, meron dyan. Diyan ka ba nakatira talaga? Diyan ka nakatira?
This is my hometown, so I come here for refreshment.
Really?
Ngayon, di ba?
Oo, kasi may binili ako na bahay dyan.
Ay, taray!
Sa may Nagilian Road, around 15 minutes from
that's
from
a
the city.
Nice. So, malapit na rin sa Bencap Museum, parang gano'n?
Sablan Sablan.
Yeah. Nice. Let's catch up soon. There are also people asking, what about Iloilo? Meron ba?
Yun pa po yung Iloilo, parang wala yatang SM Iloilo, pero parang may festive walk. So, yun po.
Meron daw tanong din sa Japan. Meron ba sa Japan? Will there be a showing in Japan later on?
Yes po. May
Kameta.
Yes, meron po kami sa Japan. Dadalhin po ito sa Tokyo at saka sa Osaka.
Osaka and Tokyo, yan, sa mga kameta natin.
Yes,
So,
oo.
people are very happy
May,
na
May, May po yan, May.
May. Alright. So,
Opo.
looking forward to that. Marami rin natuwa na hopefully down the road also after hopefully making a good round, this will also be on Netflix and also. I'm glad. It looks like at least dito very good vibes dun sa mga followers natin, nakita natin. They're very happy about our conversation and energy. Basta Vince, keep the good energy. At the end of the day, for me, my basic charisma is energy. If you bring good vibes, people will love you. Even if they don't agree with you, they will love you. I'll tell you that. So just keep that good energy. God bless you, Vince, and God bless your
Thank you, Richard. Salamat.
ikaw pa. And then look, of course, wait for papanoorin ko pa yan, magre-reviews pa ako.
Oh, please,
Right,
please.
yeah.
I want your honest review. Yun talaga honest.
Yeah, I mean, I'm honest. I'm nice and honest, right? Unless babalurain mo ko, talagang I'll go after you. But otherwise, I'm a nice guy. Yun lang. Ganun lang naman ako. If you don't annoy me, I won't roar. Otherwise, I'm a nice lion. But because my family name means the family of lions, hey Darian, right? So like, you mess with me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Thank you very
that's
much,
true.
Vince.
Thank you, Richard.
Salamat.
Salamat.
God bless.
God bless
Talk to
you.
soon. Catch up
Bye.
pa tayo. We'll have
Yes.
more.
Oh, thank
Sige.
you.